Here's the only sound that's tolerable when a migraine attack strikes. Nurtec ODT Rimegepant 75 milligrams can provide migraine pain relief, which can help break the silence. Nurtec is the first and only medication proven to treat and prevent migraines in adults. Don't take if you're allergic to Nurtec. The most common side effects were nausea, stomach pain, and indigestion. For important safety, prescribing, and patient information, visit NURTEC.com.
Emma, my back is killing me. Can you help?
Yep, been doing some research.
Great, it hurts right here.
You need lumbar support. Safa mattresses have advanced spinal zone technology.
I was hoping for a massage.
Safa is a better solution, Dan. Their mattresses have the chiropractic seal of approval, according to my research.
How about a Safa and a massage?
Get $200 off your purchase of $1,000 or more at safa.com/200.
Football represents something we are. Football is like life. You gotta push.
Fantasy football is about proving that you are better than your friends.
Hold up.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Face-Off.
I'm going to do what's best for the team.
Where fantasy meets reality.
Pure fantasy football nirvana.
And now your hosts.
Let the games begin.
Anthony Servino and Michael Hoff.
And what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the FF Face-Off. I am your host, Anthony Servino. Follow me on Twitter at The Real NFL Guru. Follow the show at the FF Face-Off. We can be found at all the top social media and podcast platforms. And with me today, back in the saddle, Matt McKay at Matt_McKay_ on Twitter. Matt, what is going on?
Not a whole lot, Anthony. Just excited to be back on the show with you and really ready to get into these Week 10 recaps.
Yeah, this is like one of my favorite shows of the week when we get to talk about everything that happened. And, you know, it's been crazy the past couple of weeks. And I guess let's start with what was the craziest game yesterday? What was the craziest outcome? Because we already know what happened with the Ravens and the Miami Dolphins. But, you know, yesterday, in your opinion, what do you think was the most, absurd outcome that nobody saw coming? Has to be Washington, right?
Yeah. You absolutely nailed it for me. I was going to say Washington against a Tom Brady-led Buccaneers team. They weren't really missing anyone on the Tampa Bay side. So absolutely shocked to see Heineke go on that. I felt like an 8-minute drive to really ice the game. Really impressive considering how young he is with the team and the lack of personnel in comparison. So that would certainly be the top candidate for me. I would also say Philadelphia getting a 17-point road win in Denver shocked me a bit. I thought the defense would do quite a number on Jalen, and he proved me wrong. Threw a couple touchdowns to Devontae. They seem to have great chemistry. They keep feeding Jordan Howard and whoever else is in the backfield. It doesn't really matter that Miles Sanders is gone right now. So definitely impressed.
They're playing better without Miles Sanders. Let's be real here.
Yeah, that's fair. And then the Patriots, I definitely expected them to win, but not by 38 points. So I would say those three outcomes. I thought about going towards Detroit, but knowing Mason Rudolph was going to be playing heading into the game, I definitely tempered expectations. And he had some wheels. He had a couple of nice little runs there. But yeah, those would qualify for my biggest surprises of the week.
You know, Washington, there was a key stat I saw from Adam Schefter, because Brandon Schreff, probably saying his name wrong, he returned yesterday out for a couple of games, and Washington couldn't run the ball. They weren't winning football games, and the football team, they were 0-12 in the past 3 seasons without their all-pro guard. He comes back. We see Antonio Gibson score a couple of touchdowns, one of his better games of the year. I know he's coming off the bye and the shin's probably healthy, but, getting Sheriff back, it was huge. And we even saw Heineke play his best game probably since the injury.
Yeah, that's a wild stat, the 0-12 without Sheriff.
Well, it's like,
in the
what was it
lineup.
last year going into the Super Bowl without Fisher, where the Chiefs were like, in 2 years, they had like 2 wins without him in games that he was hurt, or no wins. I forget the actual number, but that really had me going all in on the Buccaneers, even because I was in on the Buccaneers anyway. But that was like, all right, I'm going to put heavier money down on Tampa to win this thing.
And Washington's been one of the worst defensive units against both run and pass all season. So it seemed like a smash spot. And wild outcome. I know Mike Evans preserved his value. He got a touchdown late on that nice down the field seam route. But yeah, all in all, shout out to Taylor Heineke and Antonio Gibson. I mean, he didn't have a very good yards per carry attempt, but he had 24 carries. That is an absolute workload. So yeah, good to see that from Gibson.
No, before we move off this game, I do want to say I think Tampa. I don't think people are giving enough credit to how much value Antonio Brown brings to this offense. He's the big playmaker. He's the field stretcher for Tom Brady. And without Antonio Brown, this offense looks a little bit different. I remember last year, it took Antonio Brown a couple games to get going, but once he did, he was on pace to outscore. He possibly did outscore Godwin down the stretch of last season in fantasy, and I think they're really missing Antonio Brown. Tyler Johnson's a nice player. He's not Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown, still at his age, might be the most gifted receiver on this football team. I know the walking boot's gone. There was a chance he could have played on Sunday or yesterday. They need Antonio Brown back. I think they get him back this week, and this Tampa team's going to turn it around.
Yeah, I love Antonio Brown. He's had 7 or more targets in 4 of the 5 games that he's played in. I know it's been a while since he's been on the field, but yeah, he's definitely their. I mean, Mike Evans too, but he would be like the 1B to the 1A for downfield production. Yeah. Assets in the offense. So it'll be great to get him back.
Couple of questions on Twitch. Remember, guys, we are live on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. If you have questions or comments, drop them in the live chat. Pablo24, our leadoff hitter. He traded CD Lamb and Melvin Gordon for David Montgomery, Josh Jacobs, and Marvin Jones. How does now lose a trade?
Yeah.
CD Lamb and Melvin Gordon for
Melvin Gordon still has a relevant role. I mean, he gets in the end zone fairly frequently. He did again this past week. We all saw what CD's capable of, hitting his ceiling in that smash spot against the Falcons defense. And yeah, he's been him and Amari kind of trade for like who's going to have the quiet game. It feels like, at least so far this season. But yeah, you want to hold on to Lamb, and you definitely want to hold on to Melvin, because as people were hoping Javonte, I mean, he's looked great. Javonte Williams, the rookie running back in Denver, he just hasn't, for whatever reason, Vic Fangio wants to keep the 1A, 1B approach in the backfield, and Gordon's got enough talent to keep that going.
Yeah, so. Gordon now has 5 straight games with double-digit PPR points, scored a touchdown in 4 straight, and 5 in that 4-game time span.
Yeah, that's just the definition of consistency. You can throw him in there and know, in all likelihood, you're going to get that touchdown one way or the other. So
yeah, I'm not in on this trade either. I'd rather have CD Lamb and Melvin Gordon. Now, what makes this trade close is if we get the same David Montgomery as we saw down the stretch last year, then I think this trade's a lot closer. Forget about Josh Jacobs. He's an afterthought for me at this point. And Marvin Jones, I love Marvin Jones. I said in the preseason he was going to lead this team in receiving, and he probably will. But he's very inconsistent, just like the Jaguars. Like, for him not to have a smash game against that secondary, I mean, the Colts defense is good, but their secondary is not getting the job done this year, and it was a great spot, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, 6 targets, and you would hope he could get maybe 4 catches, 50 yards, turn that into a nice little maybe 10 points in PPR. But no, he had 2 catches for 35 yards on 6 targets yesterday, 5.8 yards per target. His yards per target is just descending. Visca's overtaking him. Jamal Agnew's bringing that burst. I know he had that touchdown yesterday, I believe, right? So yeah, he's definitely getting things going for him in a kind of like a utility type of role. The Jaguars offense just doesn't have that much firepower to it. And I know DJ Chark's injury affects that, and they get James Robinson back, but all in all, there's just not a lot to get excited about with Jacksonville.
Next question from Doc Colombian on Twitch. He won in both of his leagues. Congratulations. He's not. I think this is more of a comment. He's not a Saints fan, but they are good with Mark Ingram. If Kamara is out again in Week 10, he had Ingram in fantasy. Is a good pickup. Yeah, I mean, I was in on Mark Ingram yesterday. I think he could have been started in most leagues. Depending on what you had at running back. I know I started him in a few spots, and even with Alvin Kamara in, Mark Ingram has standalone value.
I absolutely agree with that. I actually just finished writing up the Week 11 start-sit preview for Fantasy Data, and Mark Ingram made the list for players to start. Even with Kamara back, I think they're against the Eagles in Philly Week 11, so that'll be Eagles are bad against the run.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be a nice spot for him. Even as I think he's more of the 1B than just the solidified RB2
absolutely.
behind Kamara.
You know, he's going to go back to his role, what his role was initially with Kamara.
Yeah, and people get scared because it's, your 31-year-old running back. Oh, like, okay, that's in this scenario, that doesn't apply because he's comfortable in the scheme. He got 7 targets yesterday, turned that into 4 catches, 61 yards. That's just an absolute boost for his floor. And 3 that touchdown he had near the goal line, that was a 13. That was not a 2-yard conversion falling into the end zone. That was a 13-yard outside zone scheme, just burst. And it was impressive, honestly. I didn't know he still had that in him.
Mark Ingram in 7 games this year with Houston had double-digit PPR points twice. In 3 games with the Saints, he has double-digit PPR points in 2 out of the 3. He even put 7.2 up in the first game back. I mean, it's not like he needs to get used to the system. They're running the same system. It's like, it's like a plug-and-play in fantasy in real life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like for most, even if he wasn't familiar with the system, most running backs, like, I feel like they have the easiest time adapting to a new environment. So him having the chemistry and the familiarity just makes him a smash play moving forward, I think, as like a RB3, RB2 upside.
Pablo24 is saying his team is now Lamar Jackson. This is the one with the CD Lamb trade. So it's Lamar Jackson, Montgomery, Henderson, Gibson, Jacobs, Sony Michel, Drake. And then receivers, Pittman, Cooper, Galladay, Tony, Gallup. He has Freiermuth and Kelsey at tight end. I think I like the team more with CD Lamb because you do have a lot of running backs, and I know running back depth is good, but it's like, are you really going to have to start Montgomery, Henderson, Gibson, Jacobs, Sony, like Drake? You don't need them all. So I don't hate the move. I just like your team better with CD Lamb. Like if I would have traded Cooper instead of Lamb. Maybe I'm biased. I'm a Cowboys fan. I like Lamb a little bit more, but you're splitting hairs. Those two Giants receivers kill it. He also has Gallup. So he has 2 Giants receivers and he had 3 Cowboys receivers. So I guess you had to move somebody.
Yeah, for sure. And it's tough with Amari and CD because they're both capable of having a wide receiver any week. It's just which one's going to have it and when. And I tend to lean your way with CD. I feel like he just has more explosiveness and a little bit more upside. But it really does depend on the way the game goes and how Dak distributes the football.
See, I feel like it's not about Cooper's talent. I think CD Lamb is a special player. Like he's just has that it factor that like not everybody in the league has. Like CD Lamb, I don't know who could be. I guess he, maybe Odell Beckham Jr. in his prime. Like he has that it factor. I don't know who I could put that on here now. Like to me, like DeAndre Hopkins doesn't have the it factor. He's just consistent and reliable. Maybe like Julio in his prime. It's hard to I'm trying to find that comp for CD Lamb where like that receiver who just has it.
I mean,
like Odell. Biased. He reminds me of like Odell, that type of like playmaker.
Yeah, but he's like got 5 inches on Odell, and he's just like the wiry frame. He's a massive target on the perimeter. whereas Cooper's just as fast. He's a little more stocky. He can maybe a little stronger. I don't know.
Fletcher on YouTube, should I trade Jalen Waddle and Jerry Jeudy for DJ Moore? And that's an interesting trade because I think DJ Moore is going to start picking it up with Cam.
I still say no. I like Jalen Waddle a lot with Tua back.
He was even good with Brissett.
Yeah, and that's tough to do. No disrespect to Jacoby, but yeah, that's tough to do. So, and who was the other player besides that? Jeudy. Yeah, I mean, Sutton is an afterthought in that offense now, and you hate to see it for anyone who does have Sutton. He's so good when he's given the opportunity, but it's such a crowded offense. Bridgewater's, I mean, he's, I don't know. He's really tough to read. He's done. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I'm not a Bridgewater guy anyway, but he's too inconsistent.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, he can make great plays, but can he do it for 60 minutes and do it for a month straight? No. So, yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's really Jerry Jeudy and Noah Fant and both of the running backs are intriguing to me as well. But Sutton, you hate to see. He's the guy that gets left out.
You know, this is my thing. Like last offseason or 2 off seasons ago, whatever it was, when everybody was hyping Teddy Bridgewater to the Panthers, it's like if you look at when he's had success in Minnesota and with the Saints, he had everything kind of perfect around him, and he was playing with leads. Teddy Bridgewater, like last week against Dallas, looked like an all-pro quarterback. He had to lead the whole game. When you put this guy in a position where he has to make plays and win it, he's going to lose you the game. He's an above average game manager.
Yeah, nailed it. I love Teddy Two Gloves. He did some good things in Minnesota, like you said. But yeah, I mean, he won't make too many mistakes, and he just doesn't have that it factor.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really, and a lot of quarterbacks are like that, where you need everything kind of perfect around you to win football games. I think people just, he was going to Carolina with all those weapons. He still had a career-high 14 touchdown passes going into Carolina, and he left Carolina with 15.
Yeah, didn't he have something like a 3.3 touchdown rate or something just abysmal? It was, that was not good.
Our next question. So yeah, we don't like the Waddle and Jeudy for DJ Moore trade.
No.
Waddle, he's really all they have in Miami. Even when Devontae Parker and Will Fuller was there, Waddle was still getting it. And I think at this point, Jerry Jeudy now 2 straight games with double-digit PPR points since, in his 3 games back. Doc Colombian is asking, should he trade away Hunter Henry for DeAndre Swift? What? You don't have to ask that question. You just do it. If the other person is willing to do this, then you do that trade. You don't have to, that's a question you don't have to ask. That's a smash accept.
Yeah, I mean, do you want a running back who gets double-digit targets every week and the lion's share of carries, or do you want a tight end who's found the end zone a lot but gets about 35 yards a game and 3 targets? Yeah, no brainer.
But his other tight end is Dawson Knox. Would you rather him keep Henry or Knox? Because I feel like Henry's gonna. And
tough.
I was in on Henry over Jonnu this offseason, and that was I just feel like if you looked at the pass for Hunter Henry, like he was already a featured guy with the Chargers, where Jonnu, he never had, I think, more than like 65 targets, and he only had that in the final season in Tennessee. So I felt more comfortable with Hunter Henry in the presumed role I thought he would have, and it's paying off now. Where Dawson Knox and I love Dawson Knox, and before the injury, he was on fire. I think if you're going to move one of your tight ends, I think I'd rather have the more consistent piece in Henry. But either way, I want DeAndre Swift for one of those tight ends.
Oh, yeah. No question about that at all. And as for Dawson Knox or Hunter Henry, I lean Hunter Henry as well. Just because Mac Jones is rookie quarterbacks love their safety valves, tight end, running back. Jones is the best rookie out there. He's balling, but you still need that, seam route runner, guy that's going to kind of just sit in the middle of zone coverage that can convert, a couple passes. And really, he's their biggest red zone asset on the offense. And they're humming and firing on all cylinders. Love Henry over Knox, but Knox is still a quality tight end. I mean, he plays I mean, if you're receiving the ball from Josh Allen, you're going to be put in some good spots. So
Hunter Henry has 7 touchdowns in his past 7 games. He had 4 straight, then he blanked in week 8, and now he has a touchdown in 2 straight, including 2 last week. And this is a guy who's had this is his target share since week 5 against Houston. 2, 4, 3, 3, 4. So it's like 1 in every couple of targets is a touchdown for this guy.
Yeah, that's just super hyper efficiency, and that'll probably run out. Whether it's against, I don't think it's going to be against Atlanta. That's I think you can keep rolling him out there and get that touchdown dependency in week 11 at least. But yeah, I mean, he's solid even with Jonnu back. Jonnu is like the guy. I think he runs like 5 yards a target. So I mean, he's kind of the underneath guy. They'll hand the ball off to him on like a jet sweep or some unique package. So yeah, Hunter Henry for sure.
All right, so we are caught up on questions right now. Let's get back to some. Let's see what's another good game to talk about. There was one that I here, Carolina, Arizona. What are the Arizona Cardinals? This is a team that they won last week without DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, and Kyler Murray, and then they, against the 49ers. Then the Panthers come to town and just dismantle the Arizona Cardinals. Cam Newton's return back to Carolina, 2 early touchdowns. And I guess when we're talking about game managers, this is Colt McCoy. You put him in a 2-touchdown deficit and he's not going to climb out of it.
Yeah, and looking at the box score from that game, 49 plays total for the offense for the Cardinals. Just didn't really have any opportunity to do anything. James Conner, 10 carries, 39 yards, salvaged his day with a touchdown. Yep. But yeah, Colt McCoy, 107 pass yards, pressured 4.5 QBR, just awful outing. I mean, the Panthers have a really good defense, and Sam Darnold was a liability for a while, keeping the points off the scoreboard. And I know McCaffrey was out, and he balled yesterday. He did his thing. I think he 95 rushing yards and almost that in receiving.
Yeah, 10 catches on 10 targets. I mean, he looked like CMC.
Yeah, and how many times did he get vultured yesterday too? That was the thing that was just mind-blowing. You had Chuba Hubbard come in and take one from him. You had Cam Newton come in. I knew that was going to be a vulture. And then Cam threw into Robbie Anderson. Shout out. Still part of the Panthers organization. So
that now, I know Abdullah and Chuba Hubbard, they both had 9 carries. There was a lot of, offensive garbage time, clock killing mode.
Yeah.
But are we still going to start seeing maybe Christian McCaffrey kind of get limited to that 20 touch range? I know we say limited, but this was a guy who could see 30 touches. To try to preserve him a little bit. And he's still the de facto number 1 player in fantasy football when he's healthy, even on a limited workload.
Yeah, you can't be scared. I do think you will see a bit more of caution used with McCaffrey because he's just such a good player. You don't want to roll him out there like 30 to 40 times like you would Derrick Henry. I mean, he's got the body type for it, but he's still, I mean, that takes a toll on you. He's coming off the hamstring. He's still averaged 7.3 yards a carry yesterday. That's just insane. So he's always going to see the targets. He had 10 targets, 3 more than DJ Moore did yesterday. He's going to be just fine in all formats for fantasy. And if he doesn't get 30 carries, he gets 20 or he gets 18. And, he's always going to have that massive floor with that target share. So nothing to worry about with Christian McCaffrey.
It's McCaffrey's second game yesterday with 9+ receptions. He had 9 in week 1, 10 yesterday. Incredible.
And yeah, it is. And he hasn't really had a ton of touchdowns this year. So he's able to deliver that 20-point burst even without scoring. And if he does, that's going to be a 30-point outing for you. You'll probably win your week. So yeah, don't shy away from the fact that they might be tempering him a little bit.
Let's take a look at some of the fantasy leaders from week 10. Actually, we have one more question before we do that. Now, this is back to that trade with the tight ends. He's going to do the trade since he needs a running back. Even if he didn't need a running back, like that is such a smash deal, this DeAndre Swift trade.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You gotta click accept before it goes out of your inbox.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, I don't know. I don't know what people are thinking.
Is that dynasty or redraft?
I'm assuming redraft, but
okay.
I just, even in redraft, does it make sense?
No. No, I wish it did.
And this is a guy, Swift, double-digit PPR points in all but one game, and that one game was in Week 4 against Detroit. I mean, this is what's crazy here. Now, DeAndre Swift, 3 receptions, 5 yards yesterday, 33 carries for 130 yards, only 16.5 points. Don't you feel like that should be more?
It should be, but I mean, if you're getting all that work, if you're not, usually he's good at converting those passes into big chunk plays, and the Steelers have a great defense. So that and bad weather, it was kind of just a slow grind of a game, and 33 carries is just insanity. That you want to chase that workload all over the place, and his targets will always be there, and he'll be much more efficient down the stretch. I think the Lions, if I'm not mistaken, do have a few winnable games coming up, so I don't expect them to be 0 in the win column for long. But,
is DeAndre Swift now in the top 12 running back conversation next year in redraft?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think so. I think probably in the middle of the pack, right after like the top 5 or so, you could argue, because he's the leading target share guy. Jamal Williams is an afterthought. I know he's kind of been in and out with injuries, but there's no one threatening him at all in that offense.
Now they have Jamar Jefferson vulturing touchdowns, but I mean, DeAndre Swift is clear. He's showing durability. Even though he's on the injury report every week, he's durable. He doesn't miss time. He gets the targets. He has the role. And you know what's going to happen, because people, for some reason, are just down on DeAndre Swift in the fantasy community. So it's like they'll sign a good receiver, and they're like, oh, DeAndre Swift, when he's a 3rd-round pick now. Because, his 6 targets a game, that's going to all go to somebody else.
Now, do you think Jared Goff is done for? Do you think he's never going under center again? That might change things.
Outside of this season?
David Blau, I mean, I think he's pretty good backup. I mean, I limited spots, but last year on Thanksgiving, he was pretty solid. And I just think, I don't know, man. I don't know if Goff is intentionally playing bad. I doubt it. I don't want to put that on the record, even though I just did. It just seems like there's something off there. Like, I don't know. I know he's not.
But he's going to play. He's dealing with an oblique injury. He didn't, he played through it all game yesterday. What do you think they're just going to I don't think they're going to bench Jared Goff. And I don't think it's Jared Goff's fault. What the hell does he have to throw to? This kid was put in a bad situation from the start. Never mind being traded. It's like, okay, Jared, we're going to trade you from Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and all these other weapons. We're going to give you to Matt Stafford's old team, and we're going to take every weapon away. We're gonna take Galladay away. We're gonna take Marvin Jones away. We're gonna take Danny Amendola away, and then we're gonna blame everything on you. He's not fair to Jared Goff. I know life isn't fair, but like, put Patrick Mahomes in a situation.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, almost no quarterback would succeed in his situation. I don't know, man. I think at some point you got to see what you got with Blau, and maybe it's on next week. I don't know. Like, bad.
Yeah, like looking at his Jared, 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 76 rushing yards, 2,100 passing yards.
Ugh.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, he does. Since they are always playing catch up, I will say I mean, he's attempted 30 passes or more in every game until this past weekend. So, I mean, he's going to be airing it out, and he has yet to hit over 300 since week 1 with that wild San Francisco game.
I mean, 3 out of the first 4 games, he's put up 23 fantasy points. And then since then, 10, 17, 11, 5.
Yeah. It's not good. I'm not sure. I mean, He gets Cleveland next week on the road. Browns don't have a great defense. We just saw that. So maybe he can get a bounce back game going. But I think Swift, I mean, yeah, you got to take him and all. I mean, there are people that were really into him in this industry, and I wasn't ready to launch into that. I thought it was a year too early, but I was wrong. He's absolutely smashed his fantasy value.
Yeah, I took at Swift's ADP, I was getting him everywhere I can. Like, there was nobody. It was him or Dobbins.
Wasn't it like the third round?
Sometimes in the fourth, I was getting Swift. Like,
Yeah,
early fourth. And it was like Swift or Dobbins. And I don't regret taking Dobbins because I think Dobbins would have been really successful if he played.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, he would have been. Yeah, injuries are the worst, man. Yeah, I think Dobbins would have been thriving. Ravens would probably be 9-0.
You think he would make that much of a difference?
Yeah, personally, I do. I just think he's just that much of an explosive runner when he's healthy versus, I mean, they got Le'Veon Bell, they got Devonta Freeman, they got
washed
just the washed up veterans.
Even Latavius Murray's like, he wasn't great earlier in his career. Like we know Bell was great. We know Freeman was I would put him like, the tier or two below. And then losing Gus Edwards, that was huge.
Want to know the secret to a great night's sleep? It's Purple. Why? Because only Purple mattresses have the Gel Flex Grid. It's the reason why Purple mattresses are soft where you want it, firm where you need it, and instantly respond to movement. The Gel Flex Grid flexes around pressure points to support your whole body, no matter how you sleep. Plus, the Gel Flex Grid is 80% air. It breathes, so you're not too hot or too cold. Learn more about Purple mattresses and the Gel Flex Grid at purple.com. Purple, reinventing sleep.
During the season of giving, you might give away more than you want.
Sweater for Mom, video game for Jake, and my credit card for someone named Gina?
More online activity can mean more exposed personal info, but LifeLock by Norton has identity theft protection all wrapped up. And if you become a victim, we'll work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions, but you can save up to 25% off your first year with promo code LifeLock. Visit LifeLock.com today.
Yeah, just such an unfortunate series of circumstances. Whatever happened to Tyson? I mean, he looked great, and then his carries went from 9 and 13 the first 2 weeks, then 5, then 4, then 2, then none.
Pissed somebody off.
Apparently. I mean, he looked the part, like in terms of speed,
catching the ball,
hands. Yeah, he must have done something with Harbaugh. I don't know. It's weird.
Fletcher back on YouTube. Hunter Renfrow or Jerry Jeudy? And I think this is a tough question.
Oh, really?
I like Hunter Renfrow.
Oh, I would say Renfrow over Jeudy.
Me too. Okay.
Well, Carr has the 4th most pass attempts on the season. He absolutely airs it out every single game, and it's not always pretty. I mean, you saw last night, that was a gross outing. Renfrow still had a touchdown. He had 9 targets, outpaced Waller. Waller's kind of I know he's like their best player still, but teams are scheming him up in terms of just taking him away. He had 7 targets, 4 catches, 20 some yards. So like Waller is the guy to have on the Raiders, and especially in PPR, I think. And it's crazy to say that. I'm sorry, Renfrow. I said Waller. Yeah, Renfrow is definitely the guy to have. And Jeudy, I do like, but we just got done ripping Teddy Bridgewater for like 5 minutes. I just don't. I trust Derek Carr more than Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh yeah. I think Carr is actually extremely talented. If he's with the wrong team.
Maybe so.
I mean, he's never had a defense.
Yeah, I mean, Renfrow, like his route running has been absolutely electric to watch this year. And this guy just can cut on a dime. It's insane to watch. So he's got that going for him. He's in a pass-heavy offense. They hardly run the football. Derek Carr is one of the most precise quarterbacks. So Jerry Judy's got to battle with Tim Patrick, who comes up with big plays. Mm-hmm. Sutton, I know, has not been a factor, but he's still there and has still fed targets. And they're really a run-centric team. So I wouldn't want to take a piece. I mean, granted, he's their best piece, I think, out of the offense, Jeudy, but I just don't have the same confidence rolling him out every week that I would with Renfrow, especially in the absence of Ruggs.
Yeah, Renfro, another guy, double-digit points, PPR, all but one game. And in that one game, it was the only game he had below 6 targets. He only had 5 targets that one game, and he only had one game below 7 targets, which was week 3 against Miami. Like, this guy doesn't get in the double digits, but he'll get you 7, 8, or 9 seemingly every week. And when you have that much opportunity in PPR, like, I'd rather have high floor players on my teams.
Me too. Absolutely. Yeah, you want to mitigate as much risk as possible. And it's fun to go with that high upside explosive type player. But Renfro can deliver just consistency. I mean, he hasn't gone over 77 yards receiving the whole year. His yards per target recently have been under 6 yards a target, but he just is so good in the open field, making guys miss. And yeah, he's got a nose for the end zone too. And he's not scared to go up on the contested catches. He's kind of like the whole package, just a smaller type of guy, kind of like a Cole Beasley type. Would write off as like maybe a nice support receiver, but I think he's their 1A for sure.
Steve D'Angelo from the FFFaceoff.com staff on this show frequently. 2-keeper league trade question. Henry, Stevenson, Mike Williams, Devonta Smith. So I'm guessing it's Derrick Henry, Stevenson, Mike Williams, Devonta Smith, or Stephon Diggs and Mixon, or trade Jonathan Taylor for Saquon, DK, and Patterson. Wow.
Those are both 2 hefty trades.
And he lost Henry, and he's trying to win this year. I would rather trade. I don't know what I do here. Because now we have Patterson's dealing with the ankle, and these things can
and Saquon.
Trading Derrick Henry, Ramondre Stevenson, Mike Williams, Devonta for only Diggs and Mixon? Like, you need more. Like, I feel like Stevenson can give you what Mixon's going to give you.
Ramondre?
Yeah. If Ramondre's the guy. I mean,
yeah, but what about when Damian Harris comes back? I don't think he's going to be out for that much longer.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. But then on the other side, Jonathan Taylor, who's probably operating as the best running back in football, for Saquon, who's expected to be back this week, DK Metcalf and Patter. I don't know. I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, those are both really tough. Between one or the other, I kind of like the second one more, I think.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. Because like you said, Diggs, yeah, he just went off, but how many times is he going to do that, And Mixon, good. He's like a high RB2, maybe like a fringe RB1 on a good week. I think you get more upside with the second trade.
Yeah, I hate losing Jonathan Taylor. Could you flip Henry and Taylor and trade, like, can you trade that top package for the bottom package?
Ideally.
And keep, like, Jonathan Taylor, like, he's the piece I want to keep long-term and this year.
Yeah.
But I don't know. If I had to do one, I'd do the bottom, giving up JT, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it sucks. I mean, he is definitely going to be the RB1.
But how are you going to win this year without Jonathan? Like, you know what I mean?
Who else? Do we know the full roster, the full rest of the team? No.
And no, he can't flip the top and the bottom. So I see moving. I long term, I'd rather have Jonathan Taylor. So I guess I would do the top one and move.
Devonta Smith is gone. Devonta Stevenson gone.
Mike Williams, Stevenson, and Derrick Henry, and get Mixon and Diggs, because I feel like JT is going to be that piece that wins you a league this year.
And giving away JT would give you Saquon, Cordero, and who else?
DK Metcalf.
Oh. I mean, healthy Saquon is nice. That and Cordero, yeah. Now that I'm thinking through it more, I don't know. This is dynasty, right?
Keeper. Two keeper. You can only keep two, but like, I guess it is. It's like if you do the bottom, then you're going to keep Henry next year. If you do the top, you're going to keep JT next year.
Yeah.
And also on the bottom, Cordero, you can start him as a running back. So then You would
That
have
is
Patterson and Saquon and DK Metcalf sure upgrade at receiver. So, yeah.
Yeah, Metcalf, I mean, he's not going to do what he did last week again this season.
Yeah.
With Russ back, he's going to be motivated to show he's still good. And
He has Lockett and Drake, too.
Okay.
So then you're going to deal with both Seattle receivers?
Yeah, I would only want one of the Seahawks receivers this year. So maybe still lean with the trading away JT.
Yeah. I don't want to,
Sounds
but I
bad.
think you have
Nah.
to. You're going to do a move.
Yeah.
Where are we? We have another question. Traded away Calvin Ridley for Hunter Renfrow. Is that a win?
I think so, because we have no idea what Calvin Ridley's timeline looks like at all. He stepped away for personal reasons. All the best to him. Wish him a speedy recovery with whatever he's dealing with. And you just don't know. It's too risky to hold on to him. You got to make a move, I think, especially in redraft. And I just got done talking up Hunter. We just got done talking up Hunter Renfrow. I like that trade.
Listen, if I'm Calvin Ridley, I don't have any reason to come back to the Falcons this year.
Why do you say that?
It's not like they're going to go anywhere.
You think that Dallas game is really who they are? You think they got exposed?
I mean, going into yesterday, they were holding on to the 7 seed. They did not look like they looked like the worst team in football yesterday. I know it's maybe an outlier, but this isn't the first time we've seen this out of this Falcons team.
Yeah,
like they've laid eggs like this before.
I'm looking at their wins. Yeah, barely grinded out a win over the Giants. Low scoring.
The Saints was a good win.
Yeah, but it's against Trevor Siemian, so I just take that. I take that with a grain of salt. Barely beat the Dolphins. Barely beat the Jets. Yeah, you might be right. I mean, their wins aren't very impressive, and lost to Washington. Gave up 34 to them. They got like we talked about the Thursday night football matchups, hosting the Patriots, who are red hot. So that's going to be another loss. They can bounce back against I like a lot of the Falcons pieces week 12 on the road in Jacksonville. That could be good. And week 13, Matt Ryan did his thing week 2 against the Buccaneers, and he'll get another chance against them. So
yeah, I mean, if I'm Calvin Ridley, it's like, why?
Yeah.
And he wasn't really and I know it's mental health related, so obviously you wish the best for him. Maybe it's not the best that he comes back.
Yeah. I mean, he's certainly talented enough to make any team thankful for giving him a contract. So I think he does wind up somewhere if he doesn't return. But yeah, it's interesting with these Falcons, man, because it's really just Cordero and Pitts, and then you kind of just have to. The wide receiving cast is sparse. It's kind of Detroit-esque.
They need to
Sharp.
Like
Gage is okay.
I like Zacchaeus a lot, and he had the targets yesterday. They need to use him more. I think there's something there. Maybe not as a one. Neither is Gage. I think if Ridley, ever did come back, I think we should see more Ridley, Zacchaeus, and Gage as a 3. This was, Gage yesterday, second time in 3 games he puts up a complete blank, and his third time this season he puts up a complete blank.
Yeah, not good. All their guys are pretty small. They don't have. In terms of their wide receiving core, I know Cordell Patterson kind of floats around there, but yeah, they're all kind of wiry, small, fast guys. They need a big, kind of stout
like Julio
type of guy. Yeah, well, I mean Kyle Pitts, but I mean, yeah, it's tough. I mean Cordero and Pitts are big dudes, and they're heavily involved in the passing game. So I think Matt Ryan shakes off this disgusting Week 10 effort. But yeah, Calvin Ridley. For Hunter Renfrow, I do like that for sure. You just don't know.
Fantasy, players who played well, players didn't play well. This week, the quarterback position outside of Lamar Jackson, like your top 5, your top 3 guys, Mahomes, Dak, Allen, we expect this. Trevor Siemian currently is the QB4.
I know, yes.
Mac Jones tied with 19.92 fantasy points. I think Mac Jones, when it's all said and done, and this isn't the first time I said it, I love Mac Jones coming out. I feel like the 49ers are going to regret passing on him, and I think a lot of it was media pressure. I don't know if you believe in that, but, maybe there's a little bit of media pressure. If you take Mac Jones and miss, Mac Jones is going to be the best quarterback in this class.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And it's interesting because a lot of the conspiracy theories on the web that I've been paying attention to with Mac Jones have been talking about how that leaked photo of him celebrating the championship win with his gut out and smoking a cigar, that damaged his value significantly in the draft process, just because, who wants this doughy dude that got bailed out by having a bunch of studs at Alabama? Who's to say he's going to pan out? So I think that photo alone might have caused enough hesitation. Who knows? Maybe not. It could be media pressure. It could be Kyle Shanahan trying to be a galaxy brain. I feel like he tries too hard to be creative, and he doesn't need to do that. So it is interesting to see Mac Jones fall to Bill Belichick of all people. And he's destined for a great career.
Tom Brady's pictures weren't all that great coming out either.
You're right. Yeah, but this guy is still a stud. This is still a first-round prospect that doesn't have a whole lot to work with. Let's be honest. Jacoby Myers, shout out to Jacoby Myers getting that first receiving touchdown yesterday. But that wasn't even from Mac Jones. That was from Brian Hoyer in garbage time. So, Max, he's got Hunter Henry. He's got a mean running game. He's really accurate, and his passing attempts have gone way down this past couple of weeks because of the team just handling Carolina and Cleveland. So, yeah, he'll go back up.
Mac Jones, next couple of matchups, 3 out of his next 4 games. He has Atlanta, 29th against quarterback, Tennessee, 30th, Buffalo 1, and then bye week, and then, fantasy playoff time, week 15, Indy.
Oh, boy.
Jacksonville in the fantasy championship.
Oh, man. Yeah, I've been hyping Mac Jones up on waiver wire bench stash pickups for a few weeks now because he's started to kind of get into his rhythm, and 198 passing yards. So you're like, okay, why do I want to roster that or just throw him in a lineup? Oh, yeah, 3 touchdowns. So the guy's efficient. He's a beast. He doesn't turn the ball over a whole lot. And his defense keeps he's got a great defense, and that always helps, I think. So yeah, he's a guy you want to get in lineups, I think, with confidence rest of the season. Low end QB1.
In terms of some fantasy duds at quarterback, Russell Wilson is obviously the standout here. They were shut out. In today's NFL, teams with that many weapons and a quarterback like Russell Wilson don't normally get shut out. Carson Wentz, only 7 points. And Carson's been playing really well lately. That was obviously a disappointment for anybody who started him. Matt Ryan, completely terrible.
9 of 21, 117 yards, 2 picks, pulled midway through the third quarter. I thought he was the biggest dud.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Mike White, 4 interceptions. Trevor Lawrence, QB 18 against a really good against a really good matchup. With the Colts pass defense being what it is and not taking advantage of it at all. So yeah, there was definitely plenty of duds. Baker Mayfield outside the QB2, he's a QB3. Just interesting week.
Top 3 running backs in PPR: Darrell Williams, Ramondre Stevenson, AJ Dillon. Just like we planned it.
That's right.
What I love, something here, Dearness Johnson, PPR RB6, still 22.7 fantasy points on a Cleveland Browns team that were getting dominated the whole football game. It just shows how good this Browns rushing attack is.
Yeah, didn't they just pay both of their guards like $100 million this past week? So I would hope. Yeah, I would hope that Dearness could keep doing his thing. And yeah, he is a talented ball carrier. 7 receptions on 8 targets, 58 yards. That alone, take away the 99 rushing yards. Yeah, that alone will get you a solid, RB3, 10-point outing in lineups. So having that ability to run between the tackles like he does and makes him a good asset. And I definitely suspect sorry, I don't know about Kareem Hunt's status, but Nick Chubb will be back next week. I think Dearness Johnson still has enough potential to be a good flex play. Because if we're looking at the week 11 schedule, isn't it? Detroit. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think Dearness Johnson could keep this thing going, regardless of Nick Chubb being back.
Speaking of the Lions, they had 3 running backs finish inside the top 24. Jamar Jefferson, 10.1 PPR. Godwin, Igbuke, 11.6. DeAndre Swift, 16.5.
Yeah, I'd never heard of Godwin Igbuke before, but yeah, got that touchdown. 2 carries, 56 yards, man. So yeah, shout out to Godwin. Yeah, like we talked about earlier, DeAndre Swift, 33 carries. Are you serious? That is just insanity. Najee had 26, but yeah, that's by far it's one of the best running backs out there in terms of just volume in both facets of the offense. So Jamar Jefferson too, interesting. They were talking about him being a late 7th rounder with he rattled off that big run against the against the Steelers. I don't know. I still think DeAndre Swift is he's safe no matter what.
Oh, yeah. It's no question DeAndre Swift. People are worried about DeAndre Swift with Jamal Williams. So the role that DeAndre Swift has, especially catching passes in fantasy, he's a lock top 12 back. Just because the weighted opportunities, I love that metric for running backs.
Weighted opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Which what is it? Weighs out the PPR, the opportunities, the targets. Because they're more valuable in PPR fantasy football than anything else to a running back.
Right.
Can we please get off of this Derek Gore train? I don't know why people are on it anyway. Darrell Williams should be the starter in Kansas City over CEH. Never mind Derek Gore. Had 1 touchdown against the Giants on national television, and people think he's a guy.
So, yeah. First of all, where did Darrell Williams? I mean, I know he's
RB1.
been on the team for a year or two, but is he a relatively young guy? I had not heard of him until this past in 2020. I know he got a little bit of PT, but
I like Darrell Williams. He's been around for like 2 or 3 years. He's actually been around since 2018. And the past 2 years when he saw his most run, even in 2019, actually, he outproduced 2020.
Oh, I had no idea he's played at LSU. So yeah, he's a big time college blue chip prospect. I had no idea. Yeah, interesting. So the fact that he caught all of his targets shows you that he's got great hands. Add to the fact that he went for over 100 yards in the passing game alone. Patty Mahomes just absolutely lighting the Raiders defense up with 5 touchdowns and finding Williams on one of those. Just goes to show you that, yeah, I'm with you. CEH is, I don't know, man. Yeah, because people constantly talk about how you could have had DeAndre Swift. You could have had
Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah,
that guy.
That guy. Yeah, Andy Reid probably loses sleep over that.
Can you imagine Jonathan Taylor on that team?
No, because I don't want to see another super team. So that would have absolutely been the final piece. Yeah, I mean, Clyde was great in college. He was real shifty. He truck stick people. He could get between the tackles. Great leverage. Hard to keep track of him through the traffic. Just has not translated for whatever reason. And I think you're right. Darrell Williams deserves to be the RB1. They play the best with him as their RB1. Yep. Yeah, like you said, Derek Gore. No, that prime time will do a lot for you, but he's not it. So keep feeding Darrell Williams. As far as I'm concerned, for sure. I mean, Patrick Mahomes will be fine regardless, but if he can get that reliable guy in the flat or running a little shallow crossing route like what Williams is really good at, then he's just going to keep slinging it and keep doing his thing. So the fact that Darrell Williams had under 4 yards to carry doesn't mean anything if he's going to see that type of target share.
Wide receiver position. Now this one, if you look at the top wide receiving scorers, there's just a whole bunch of names. Outside you got Diggs, Lamb, Hill. Then it gets wacky. Kendrick Bourne 4, Edwards and Hunter Renfrow 8 and 9, Ray McLeod 12, Marcus Johnson 11, DeAndre Carter 11. Keep going down. Albert Wilson, Byron Pringle. Let's get Jamal Agnew, Gabriel Davis. Where's another one? Isaiah Ford. Like, what the hell? And this is like in the top 30.
Yeah. So do you think that? Let me ask you a question. What do you think? What position group has been the most inconsistent week to week this season between wide receivers, running backs?
Receiver.
Because of the receiver.
Yeah.
See, I feel like there's a lot of running backs that kind of just creep into the top 12 that you really don't expect. So I feel like it's more volatile with the running backs. But we're looking right now, week 10, and like you said, you got half of the guys in the wide receiver 1 territory. Marcus Johnson, like what? Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know.
Six out of the top 12 receivers going into tonight: Kendrick Bourne, Bryan Edwards, Hunter Renfrow, Ray McLeod, Marcus Johnson, DeAndre Carter. Crazy. And then we have Albert Wilson, Byron Pringle, Traquan Smith, tied for 15, then Traquan was 17. Like, are you kidding me? Just like we planned it out.
Yeah, exactly right. And Amari Cooper, wide receiver 40. Jarvis Landry, wide receiver 47. Judy, wide receiver 33. So Adam Thielen, wide receiver 32. So a lot of big names struggling in week 10. Michael Pittman, wide receiver 29. He had 5 for 5 for 71. And it's crazy. It's really shows you it is the definition of a week to week league.
Yeah.
And as much as I want to put stock in how a defense has performed to a certain point in the year, like for instance, looking at Jalen Hurts' outlook on the road against a really good Denver defense, did not like that matchup whatsoever. Turns out it doesn't matter because Hurts was absolutely spinning the pigskin yesterday and found his groove. So it really is an awesome thing to watch the parity in the NFL. And it's just really frustrating when you can't nail it week to week. But that's what we're here doing, we're trying our best. And half the names, like you said, still relevant at the very top. Diggs, Lamb, Hill, Jefferson had double-digit targets. There's still household names that the casual player will recognize. But the fact that half of them are guys that you probably could have gotten off the waiver wire, it's pretty astounding.
We're going to take one more question, then we're going to wrap up. We're hitting up just about the hour mark from F on YouTube. Aaron Jones or James Robinson for the fantasy playoffs. Aaron Jones a little bit dinged up right now. But I would still probably rather have Aaron Jones. He'll be better by time the fantasy playoffs, even if they rest him a week or two.
Yeah, I'm not as bullish on Aaron Jones. I feel like he was getting out. Yeah, so he definitely had the grip on the targets, and in PPR, that is king. So in that regard, I understand the reasoning for wanting to keep rocking with Aaron Jones, but I think A.J. Dillon is just absolutely the back that fits their team makeup, and it's what LaFleur likes. He loves the run game.
I don't know. I'm going to change my mind looking at this schedule for James Robinson. Number one, since week 3, Robinson, of course, had a string of 25, 20, 21, 19 bye week, injured against Seattle, doesn't play against Buffalo, comes out to 18.4 yesterday. Here's his stretch. San Francisco, Atlanta, the Rams, Tennessee's a tough matchup. Then fantasy playoffs 15, 16, 17. Houston, Jets to Pats.
Oh.
Yeah, it's James Robinson. Barring injury, he's going to be a league winner.
Yeah, I was already in on James Robinson without knowing that was his fantasy playoff schedule. So, hammer James Robinson. He had a touchdown this past week in his game back after missing week 9. Still had 4.5 yards of carry, saw 5 targets. He's just fine. The offense is lacking quite a bit of talent. he's going to get a lot of those check downs, a lot of those crossing routes, and he has a good runner. So I like it.
One more question. I always try to get them all in. William E. was about to rage drop DJ Moore. He's still worried about Cam. We talked about DJ Moore a little bit earlier. I think DJ Moore, if he's going to get back on track, it's going to be with Cam Newton, not PJ Walker. You're not dropping DJ Moore. If anything, try to trade him. Maybe he has a good game. Try to sell high, but you're not dropping DJ Moore. You can't.
And he's pretty much hit the bottom of the barrel in terms of his floor. Right. I mean, he's seen his targets drop from 13 and 10 in weeks 6 and 7 to 8, 7 and 7. And his yardage has gone down progressively and alarmingly at 3.43 yards per target this past week. So you got to throw that out of the window, especially like you said, with Cam Newton coming back, bringing that energy. Yeah, he didn't look good in New England. He threw a dime to Robbie Anderson, so let's not act like he can't throw still. And I think the quarterback change is going to spark just an absolute across the board for the offense. The energy is going to be up. They're going to be playing better. DJ Moore's got the talent. It's been frustrating rocking with him this season, but he's 100% capable of ending the streak soon. And it's against Washington next week. So
the matchups there too. This was a great show, Matt. Tell everybody where they can find you and what you do.
Yeah, I had a great time today, Anthony. Thanks for having me on. You all can find me on Twitter at Matt_McKay_. Do a lot of writing for Fantasy Pros, Fantasy Data, Rotoballer, as well as here at the Fantasy Football Face-Off. Catch my weekly articles for Waiver Wire Rotoballer out on Saturday mornings. Start sit for Fantasy Data every Tuesday, and doing a lot of DFS content for hockey and the PGA. So pretty busy over here, but football is the first love, and always like being a part of the show.
All right, guys, I will be back tomorrow talking about Week 11 waiver wire ads, NFL injuries, and anything else that happens between now and then. Until then, good luck in your fantasy matchups and betting endeavors that you have going on with Monday Night Football tonight. Until then, have a safe and good night.
Want to know the secret to a great night's sleep? It's Purple. Why? Because only Purple mattresses have the Gel Flex Grid. It's the reason why Purple mattresses are soft where you want it, firm where you need it, and instantly respond to movement. The Gel Flex Grid flexes around pressure points to support your whole body, no matter how you sleep. Plus, the Gel Flex Grid is 80% air. It breathes, so you're not too hot or too cold. Learn more about Purple mattresses and the Gel Flex Grid at purple.com. Purple, reinventing sleep.
Sling TV, built to save you money and bring you the channels you love, including ESPN, AMC, HGTV, and more. Watch your favorite comedies, dramas, suspense thrillers, news, sports, and more for just $35 a month. And your first month is only $10. Sign up now and start streaming right away on your TV, phone, and tablet. Take control of your TV solution with Sling. It makes TV flat out better. Go to sling.com to sign up now and get your first month for just $10.